All right. Hello, fellow entrepreneurs, Shopify entrepreneurs. Welcome back to the channel. Sorry, it's been a while. I'll explain that in a second, but welcome back to the November Shopify updates. Every month on this channel, if you're new, I go through the Shopify changelog. This is what the Shopify changelog is, and these are all the updates we're going to be going over on this video because I've been running Shopify stores for a long time now, and I find one of the most overrated pieces of information is the Shopify changelog. This way you can always stay up to date on the latest and greatest changes, improvements, new features, new updates on the platform that you run your entire business on. Every month on this channel, like I said, I do a month in review of all the changes coming to the platform. If you're new around here, you want to get caught up on the latest changes from the previous months, you can click on this playlist here. But welcome back, guys. Sorry it's been a while. I usually post these updates closer to the beginning of the month. But as you know, we had Black Friday, Cyber Monday, biggest time of the year for e-commerce. And because I'm running multiple stores and work on another one, as you can tell, there's a lot of work to do. But everything went pretty smoothly. I hope your guys' Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend and into the holiday season is going great, as this is the busiest time of the year, the biggest influx of sales, as you know, if you've been doing it a long time like me. Everything went pretty well, surprisingly. Usually there's something that breaks, not on your store's end, but on Shopify's end. You know, understandably, if there's so much new traffic coming to all the stores and a bunch of new stores are opening, usually something breaks. So let's get this monthly update started. Looking over this month, just going to select a nice blue for December, for November, December. Looking over this month, actually, there are some interesting improvements. I was surprised. I thought there was going to be not that much to cover this month because of Black Friday, Cyber Monday. But there are actually some decent updates, some new features, some improvements that we can go over. The last few months have been very heavily focused on POS updates, point of service, if you're selling in person, but not this month. So that's refreshing to see. So let's jump into it. First update here on November 1st is improved Shopify Collabs creator profile pages. It says improvements have been made to the way you can view creators on Shopify Collabs. So Shopify Collabs is a way for Shopify businesses and content creators to merge together onto one platform. Shopify Collabs allows content creators, influencers, people with large social followings to make their social brand aware on Shopify Collabs, and where businesses can work with these influencers and influencer marketing, and they can easily connect on Shopify Collabs. And so if you use Shopify Collabs, you will notice a few differences, but basically it says clicking on the creator profile may have resulted in seeing information that varied from one creator to another, and that these improvements like a clear badge, the ability to send invitations and others are now available. And this is kind of what the collab platform looks like. Here's a collaborator, here's their information and ways you can connect with them and such. So when you work with Shopify Collabs, there's two different options. There's ways you can connect if you are the business, with one option here. And then if you're an influencer or someone with a large social following, you can click another option to apply to be a creator. So win-win. Influencer marketing and social media marketing, all that is massive in e-commerce. So we have some improvements with Shopify Collabs. Another update here for POS pin. This is just that they've made some improvements for POS pins. Like if you type in your password incorrectly a number of times, it'll lock and that sort of thing. Very small update there. This update on November 3rd says an improvement to the admin. So these are always interesting to look at. So it says update and automate gift card email sending with on-off toggles now available in the admin settings. You can now adjust your gift card settings in your Shopify admin to auto send emails. It says you can now preview gift card emails and control whether or not to send gift cards manually on creation by adjusting the default settings for the sending behavior from your gift cards in your settings in your Shopify admin. So a little improvement there when it comes to sending your gift cards, just to improve the visibility of what you send to your customers before you send them. This is a good update here on November 3rd. So it says new granular staff permissions for orders. It says 12 new staff permissions give merchants more granular control over actions staff members can take on orders. So this is talking about permissions. So this is interesting. If you run a store and you have staff members and you assign them different permissions, if you ever go into the accounts settings, the account settings on top, you'll see your account owner profile at the top, and then below that you'll see all the other staff members like this. And if you're the account owner, you can give the individual staff members a list of permissions. So there's a ton of different permissions, and what they're doing here is they are expanding the permissions. So it says previously the single order permission granted access to a wide range of stuff like payments, fulfilling, and shipping. So like I said, there's a bunch of permissions like this: permission 1, permission 2, permission 3, permission 4, and 5. And then in each of these permissions, there's usually a drop down arrow. And if you click this creates another subsection of a bunch of different permissions. And so you weren't able to check off these ones very easily. It was either you check this main one off and gives it all of these permissions, or you do not check this off and it doesn't give it any of these permissions. So what it's saying is the single orders permission, which can be one box in the permissions for the staff, would cover a wide range of actions that included managing payments, fulfilling shipping orders, as well as canceling and deleting orders. So now there are 12 more granular staff permissions. These are view orders, manage order information, apply discounts, set payment terms, capture payments, mark as paid, fulfill and ship orders, buy shipping labels, return, cancel orders, delete orders, and manage abandoned carts. So it says the increased granularity gives merchants more control over staff access to specific actions on the store. And then it says if you previously had the order permission checked off, that'll still remain by default, and it'll give them all of these. So there won't be any backward compatibility options. But this is really interesting. So like if you have a staff and you want to limit their permissions, you don't have to give them all of these permissions, which included all of these things before. You can now tick off, I want this staff member to be able to capture payments, maybe at their POS, mark as paid, mark as full, but I don't want them to manage any order information. I want to do that. That's sensitive information. I don't want them to change any payment, but they can apply discounts if they're at a POS and they're negotiating, that sort of thing. So that's a very handy update. I think that is important for a wide range of people. Okay, so moving up, we have an interesting update here. Anything in yellow means it's a new feature, which we do get really excited about. Usually when new features are released, they are only for specific areas, specific countries, and then they expand outward over time. So this one's interesting. It's about tax, which is very touchy to teach about. But anyway, it says connect your preferred tax service to Shopify with Shopify Tax Platform. So it says the Shopify Tax Platform provides the infrastructure required to allow trusted tax services to seamlessly integrate into Shopify. Our first partner is Vertex, and that is now available with more services coming soon. As you know, it's a new platform, so these things are always updating along the way. But this is relatively interesting because tax is something that is super specific to the business, what you're selling, where you're located, how much you're making, and all that. So it says they're thrilled to announce the launch of Shopify Tax Platform. And this is going to be a robust infrastructure that can integrate with your preferred tax service. And the first one they are welcoming is this service called Vertex. So this is super interesting because this is a new platform. It's called Shopify Tax Platform that introduces partners to partner with Shopify, because Shopify does have something called Shopify Tax, and that's a way for you to manage your taxes for US customers. I've used that. Everybody, is familiar with that. If you're not, that's what it does. And it looks like now that maybe they're getting some pressure to have more tax services, because obviously, the first thing people think of when they're launching in a store is sometimes taxes right away. And if Shopify doesn't have a good tax answer, I could see how that make a decision for someone thinking about starting a store to maybe not start a store. So that's interesting. Obviously everybody's tax situation is extremely different. So if you're interested, look into that more. Looks like they're rolling out a new platform called Shopify Tax Platform. That's super exciting. I mean, that sounds like a giant new feature, a giant new product. But taxes, of course, are very dependent on individual needs. So take a look at that one on your own. The next update here on November 7th is another new feature. However, we probably don't have to worry about this because this is for Plus merchants only. Plus is the plan above Advanced. So if you have Shopify plan, you'll know of the 3 tiers, and that is the 3 main tiers: Basic, and then there's Shopify, and then there's Advanced. Then above that, up here is something called Plus, and Plus is for, huge merchants. If you ever look at the biggest platforms, businesses that use Shopify as their platform, like Staples or Gymshark or Kylie Cosmetics or Prime or anything like that, they would be Plus merchants. If you're a Plus merchant, you're probably not watching this video. But it says that they can now add a thank you and add custom content to the checkout page. As you know, if you run a Shopify store, you can't really do much with the checkout page, for security reasons and everything. That's fine, but that's just for Plus merchants, so don't worry about that. this is a good optimization. Again, it's a POS feature. So this is for your point of service, your point of sale, and it says cancel orders and void transactions on POS. You're asking, isn't that already a thing? Well, the new feature is that you can do this for up to 15 minutes after the order is placed. And then that is also going to be a permission. Remember, we talked about permissions down here, the new granular permissions for staff members. You can give individual staff members that permission based on who's working. Let's move along because we're all very busy people. On November 8th, it says there's a new feature, support for visual filters, color and image swatches for storefront filters. This is super exciting. It sounds very vague here, but this is for the Search and Discover app, the free Search and Discover app. This is one of my favorite apps actually on all my Shopify stores. It's free. It's made by Shopify. You can search it in the App Store. It's called Search and Discover app, and there's a lot of great features, all free on this app. And so a little improvement here that they're doing is that you can now add color and images to the filter options shown on the collection and search results page. This update helps customers quickly understand filter by options by showing preview of the colors, patterns, or materials in a swatch. So swatch is like if you have a shirt here, that's a great shirt. And then below it, you have color swatches like this that show the different colors. So the Search and Discover app is one that is used to help customers find what they're looking for faster. So I'll probably do a video showcasing this new feature, so subscribe to that if you want. But this sounds like what it is now featuring, all free on the Search and Discover app. Again, if you're not using the Search and Discover app, definitely use it. It's an amazing app, has a lot of great features. All right, here we go. November 9th, you can now filter by markets in analytics. As an improvement in markets, it says merchants can now filter their Shopify reports located in the analytics page by markets. See, sometimes when I do these updates, I am like, whoa, isn't that already there? Or why wasn't that already there? And this is kind of one that's, I'm thinking the exact same thing. Why wasn't that already there? So of course, a market is where you sell in the world. A market can be grouped to serve as one country or two countries, or it can be a group of a lot of countries or different regions. And the market is usually based on a language, L for language, or a currency, C for currency. And so if you have a market, an area, countries, or a continent that usually all speak the same language or sell in the same currency, you can group that in a market to where you sell. And now you can add a filter on your analytics to view information by your markets to see which markets are doing the best, which markets are doing the worst. And if a market is doing really bad, maybe you shouldn't be selling there. There's a lot of time and effort you need to put into sell into multiple markets, like your shipping settings and all kinds of stuff, tax settings, custom settings and stuff like that. And if you see a market that's not really performing that well, maybe you don't need to sell there. So take a look at that analytic. Another quick little update here on November 9th says you can now add, remove, or update discounts on existing line items when editing orders. So this isn't for customers. This is for you on your Shopify admin. So it says you can now edit discounts on existing items in your orders. So when an order is placed, maybe a customer forgot to add a discount, you can now add that for them. And that's great for your brand, great that you're looking out for your customers. You can also remove discounts, you can update discounts, all when you're either editing an order or if you're sending an order invoice after, you can now edit the discounts. Okay, so here on November 13th, we have 3 updates here about Shopify Tax. Again, Shopify Tax is a way that you can track and you can calculate your taxes if you're selling in the US or if you're in the US. If you're in the US, selling in the US, or you're outside of the US, selling in the US, that's what Shopify Tax is for. But again, it's super dependent on where you are, what states you're selling in, what products you're selling, and all of that. So I'm just going to go through these 3 quickly. And if you're concerned about this, you can definitely look up more information. But this first update here on November 3rd says Shopify Tax now supports tax-inclusive pricing in the United States. Rooftop accurate rates will now be calculated on your tax-inclusive U.S. orders. So tax-inclusive U.S. orders means when you include the tax in the price of the product. So now it says it looks like there's maybe a more accurate rate when calculating this. But as I'm sure you know, if you're selling in the United States, like Shopify estimates the tax at checkout, right? If you ever have, well, let me explain it. Let me go through these three and then I'll explain that part after. But on November 13th here, it also says Shopify tax now supports orders sold into the US from abroad. So this is the update I was talking about. So it looks like this is actually a relatively new update. I was reading up about a little bit about this before the video, and I guess this is when it came out. So Shopify tax now supports orders sold into the US from abroad. So it looks like before it was only about US, and now they just changed it everywhere to support orders sold into the US from abroad. So that's actually really interesting. You know, Shopify tax was a new product at one point and is now increasing its availability outwards. So it was all for the US, customers in the US selling in the US, and now there's an update here that says anybody abroad selling into the US can now use Shopify tax. That's a great little thing to see. It says you could benefit from increased tax accuracy when your non-US store, outside of the US store, makes a sale to a US customer. Very, very good to know. I think the primary market for a lot of stores is the US, so that'll help a lot with Shopify tax. And lastly here on November 13th, it says Shopify tax is now available on point of sale orders. So it looks like a big update came with Shopify tax, and so they just ran through it all here on November 13th. And it says we've enhanced Shopify tax to support point of sale POS orders. So obviously for people selling in the US to the US or sales abroad, Shopify tax is now available on the point of sale order. So this is all very interesting because, you know, a lot of people sell to the US. It's a primary market, but at checkout, I'm sure you know this, if you have a Shopify store and you're selling to the US and you're using Shopify tax, at checkout, it'll tell you the order and then the shipping, and then it'll tell you the tax. And then right beside the tax is a little question mark that says, you know, Shopify estimates the tax. And then after checkout, after order and everything is checked, this amount can change. That's happened so many times to me when I'm fulfilling my orders. I see one thing, my customers see one thing, and then later it's different. And then, as you know, there's an order timeline in Shopify, and then in the timeline, it shows a big adjustment. So it shows, you know, the order, when it was captured, okay, it's captured, fulfillment information, and then it says tax. Right? And then the next line says tax adjustment. And this can either increase or this can decrease. And this can be sometimes a big problem if it changes a lot. Usually doesn't change a lot. Again, it depends on what you're selling and where you're selling it. But if this changes a lot, especially it increases and it charges the customer more, that can make your website look really bad. So Shopify tax, it's a little annoying that way. I've actually had a situation where, you know, somebody was questioning like what kind of website scam are you running here? You know, you advertise one price and then you're charging another, and that was a whole issue. So that's my quick little story on Shopify tax. But yeah, we have some Shopify tax updates here. If you have any questions, hey, leave it in the comments. I'd love to know your feedback about how you use that. Anyway, November 15th says add a recipient and scheduled send options on gift cards for customers. So it says you can now enable add a recipient and scheduled send on gift cards for customers. So this is fun. This is kind of another one where it's like, you know, of course that should be there. So it says customers. So this isn't for you, the merchants. This is for your customers. So if you're selling a gift card to someone, the customer can now add a recipient and a personalized message to gift cards, as well as schedule the gift card to be sent at a specific time for more personal, thoughtful, and convenient gifting experience. So if you have someone's birthday coming up on a future date, you're shopping, doing all your Black Friday, Cyber Monday shopping now, or you are running a promotion where it says like 20% off all gift cards right now for this weekend only, and somebody buys your 20% off gift card, hey, that's a good deal. They can now schedule the send to the individual on their birthday, and they can include a nice little picture, maybe this cat, a personalized message to be more thoughtful and convenient gifting experience. Very good. Okay, so this is a big deal. This is a really big deal, okay? So on November 16th, in fact, this is such a big deal, I did a whole video on this. I did so many videos on this. All merchants can now choose between the 1-page checkout and 3-page checkout. So it says merchants on basic, Shopify, advanced. Remember we were talking about the plans? Of course you do. You have good memory. And can now use the theme editor to choose between the 1-page checkout and the 3-page checkout. It says merchants can now decide on what is best for your shopper and your shop and your buyer's experience, while knowing that your customizations and checkout settings will migrate seamlessly from one layout to another. Plus, merchants are unaffected by this change and can still set their checkout layout in the checkout editor. So I did a whole video on this when this was announced. when this was teased in summer editions. When I found the post a few weeks ago in the Shopify community, and I was shocked by this news. And then I did a video around the time that it came out of me actually showing you how to change your checkout from 1 page to 3 page. Okay. So really quickly, if you're really interested in this, I highly recommend go checking out those videos on my channel. But 1 page checkout is Shopify's most important feature that they've released in a long time. It is a way to optimize your checkout to 1 page, a long form 1 page that has your billing information, your order information, your shipping information all on 1 page, and then they can hit checkout here. Before, on 3 page checkout, now not even before, you can go back to this, they had 3 pages where the customer would enter 1 page of information, their shipping address, choose their shipping options, and can choose their payment options, etc. And they would choose next, 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 and then order. And they found that clicking next, entering information, clicking next and entering information, and clicking next increased abandoned cart rate like crazy. So what they did is that they announced that they were going to convert 3 page checkout, check, 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 to 1 page checkout, the long form page checkout like this. And that decreased the abandoned cart rate. And that also increased the checkout time. It saved seconds, which is good for e-commerce. You don't want people to, you want to generate urgency when people are selling. You don't want to think about it and maybe come back and never purchase. So this is very good. This is a very big optimization. And so what they did is they heard people's feedback, and they are now giving you the option. It's very easy to access to change this. You just go to your theme editor, and then on the left side, there's a tab that says checkout right here. You go to your theme editor, and then there's a little gear here in the corner. You click that, and then you go down to the bar that says checkout, and then there's 2 options, 1 page, 3 page, and then you can check which one you want, and you can hit save in the top right corner, and then it'll automatically change your checkout if you prefer 1 page or 3 page. So that was a huge deal. I was very shocked when I heard about that, but that's what it is. All right, so moving right along. On November 20th, we have this update here to Markets Pro. And this says Markets Pro preferential trade agreement support. So it says Markets Pro now supports preferential trade agreements in duties, calculations, and customs documentation. Merchants should review their product country of origin. So what this is telling you is that Markets Pro is a feature on Shopify that if you are selling in multiple markets, remember we were talking about markets before, if you were selling in multiple markets, there's a lot of individual taxes, duties, collections, shipping when you are trying to sell to all of these different places, right? So Markets Pro is a service that Shopify offers that can handle all of this intricate fees and designing your international market. So what they are saying now is that there is an update to take advantage of preferential duties treatment. One thing that Markets Pro covers is duties and customs fees when selling to different countries. So preferential duties treatment is referring to trade agreements between countries for the better enablement of goods between those 2 countries, like the United States, Mexico, Canada free trade agreement that enables US merchants to ship their products to Canada, Mexico with reduced import fees when the products are manufactured in North America. So this is talking about updating your product's country of origin to take advantage of the trade agreements so that Markets Pro can give you a better deal when you're shipping internationally to lower your calculated duties. It's kind of complicated, but it's kind of not. It's something you have to kind of set up if you're using it, but Markets Pro takes care of a lot of that stuff. So a little update there. Did I tell you guys I was sick? Did I tell you guys I kind of got sick Black Friday, Cyber Monday? I got a little sick because, a lot of work had to be done and I got kind of sick. I don't know if you saw my last video, but I had no energy and my voice sounded crazy. So sorry about that. I can't tell if my voice is fully recovered or not. I don't know. Let me know. So here we go. We're almost done here for the month, November 21st. So Shopify Flow, a new feature. Remember, we like to see the yellows. A new feature, Shopify Flow, get notified when errors happen. You can use a workflow in Flow to notify you when workflow errors happen. Okay, so this is a really good feature. If you don't know what Shopify Flow is kind of, it's an automation app. It's a free app made and developed by Shopify. I think it's available on every plan, but it's kind of like email automations. When you set up an email automation, it's like customer completes order, then wait 3 days to send a review request. If review request is not opened, wait 2 weeks, then send a coupon code if you give us a review request type thing. This is the flow. This is automation depending on the user's actions. And that's kind of what Shopify Flow does, except it's not just for email automation. So now it's saying that you can get notified when errors happen, because if you've ever looked at this or you ever try to make one, like they have a lot of templates that you can use, and I highly recommend sticking to the templates. But obviously there's a huge amount of potential when it comes to Shopify Flow, and you can get really creative. However, when you're creating these massive flows like I have sometimes, they get really complicated, and it seems like it makes sense, but it doesn't make any sense at all, and you can't really see the error that well. So it says here you'll get notified when errors happen. You can use a trigger and then notify yourself or your team so that you can identify and fix the problem. It also says, just a disclaimer, if a workflow errors 10 times, you'll receive one notification. If you then fix the error and then another error happens, you'll receive a notification again. That's just how it's designed to work. A little improvement here when it comes to the admin revolving around analytics. It says you can now select custom dates for metrics on the home page. So merchants can now select custom date ranges for metrics on the home page. This is something, again, that's like, why wasn't that there before? But obviously analytics are a huge part of e-commerce, and then also comparing your analytics from one time to another time, especially on Black Friday. Like, I've been really looking in the analytics deeply over the Black Friday, Cyber Monday holiday season, specifically comparing your numbers for maybe 1 year ago and comparing your numbers from this Black Friday, Cyber Monday season. And you can do that all on one page on the analytics page. And now it says you can select custom dates for that on the home page. So hopefully yours looked like this as I just drew for this year, because you have an amazing store that did really well. The last update of the month. We have November 29th, an enhancement to the cohort analysis report. So it says the customer, I wish I didn't do that, I can't read now. The customer cohort analysis report now includes amount spent per customer, and you can see the cumulative sales metric, including net sales, gross sales, and total sales for customers, for a cohort and analysis. It's a new analytic and a new metric. I've learned that these reports and the analytics also vary quite heavily on the plan you're on. I realize this because, I've run a couple Shopify stores. They've been on the same plan, and then I work on another store that's on a different plan, on a higher plan. And then I was like, where are all these new sales? So again, reports and stuff may not be available depending on what plan you're on. But it says right here, it's a new release, and this report, customer cohort analysis report, can include the amount spent per customer metric, so you can gain some insights into your customers' overall value of your business, and helps you determine how to more effectively invest your marketing. That's extremely true, because you want to know who your best customers are. And especially when it comes to marketing and email marketing, just for an example, you want to definitely segment your customers, and segmenting your customers into your top tier customers that have the average order, the highest AOV, the highest average order value, and the highest customers that keep returning to your store. You definitely want to segment them, treat them better, build that relationship so they keep coming back, and then they start providing word of mouth marketing, and that is invaluable because you don't have to do anything. You just have to nurture the relationship with your customers that love your products the most. And that's always super fun. It's such a great time when you realize you have a dedicated customer base. So that's it. That's it, guys. That's it. That is it. Pretty good month, honestly, I would say. The previous few months, if you want to go back and watch the previous 2 months from that playlist I mentioned earlier, have been very like POS heavy, point of sale, point of service heavy, a lot of improvements, a lot of new features. And so I was waiting for some non-POS big updates, and it looks like we kind of got that in November. A lot of updates, analytic updates, discount updates, gift card updates, plus updates, a lot of tax updates. So again, if you're interested in tax, Shopify tax, if you're selling in the US or you're in the US selling in the US, check out Shopify tax, because that update that they released mid-month of even if you're outside of the US and selling into the US, Shopify tax can be super helpful for you. So check that out. Of course, always do a ton of research when you're working with taxes and all that. But that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. I really do hope you learned something new, because staying up to date with these important improvements and updates on Shopify, the software that you run your entire business on, you have to stay updated on that. You have to know what's improving, what's changing. You have to know it so you're not taken by surprise, and you're improving your business. You're maintaining your competitive advantage over your competitors. That's extremely important in e-commerce. So always going through the changelog. I usually do it. I do it once a month on this channel. And if you're interested to come together just to talk about Shopify and e-commerce, share experiences of what's happened over the last month, hey, consider subscribing. It's free. Join some fellow Shopify entrepreneurs. If you do, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.